An editorial published by the Daily Barometer is still receiving overwhelming negative feedback from many members of the Greek community. Tonight we'll explain what all the fuss is about.
Students took the opportunity to complain to their ASOSU representatives about everything from parking to rising tuition costs for today's Gripe Fest forum.
Finally, engineering students looking for a job found solace at OSU's Winter Career Fair. We'll have all that and more on tonight's episode of the Beaver News.
Good evening and welcome to your Thursday night edition of the Beaver News. I'm Gabriella Morrongiello.
And I'm Allison Headley. We're glad you could join us tonight. Tonight's top story. Many Greek students are still in arms in regards to an editorial published by the Daily Barometer this Tuesday. The editorial in question discussed the implementation of the university's first-year experience program that is planned to go into effect fall term of next year. More specifically, however, the editorial gave argument as to why the Greek community should not be given the exemption to this new policy.
The university's first experience would make it mandatory for all freshmen to live on campus and would be implemented fall term of the 2013 school year. The OSU administration believes and has evidence to show that students who live on campus fare better academically than their counterparts. This policy was also made in efforts to increase the likelihood of freshmen connecting with the university. This policy, however, would prevent freshmen from moving into their Greek chapter houses during their first year.
In the editorial published by the Daily Barometer, the editorial staff made an argument against the proposed exception of the Greek community by stating that the Greek system has a negative impact on new students' academics. The article was met by a flood of angry comments on the Daily Barometer's website from furious alumni and current members of Greek houses.
Over the past few days, the Barometer has received over 18 letters to the editor, nearly 60 comments on the online version of the article, and more than 23 tweets in regards to the article. Traffic on the Barometer website has hit a new record high, beating out the previous record of 12,000 views by more than 1,000 hits.
Last night, the university finally came to a decision on the proposed exemption and has agreed to allow 25 eligible fraternities and sororities on campus to be exempt from the first-year experience policy. This decision was made by looking at academic track records and the relationship these houses have had with the university over the years.
In order to actually become exempt from the policy, however, these chapters must prove themselves by undergoing an evaluation to determine, quote, whether applicant houses have safe, healthy, and educationally beneficial housing programs consistent with the first-year experience that OSU will provide on campus residence halls.
Some of the fraternities and sororities that are eligible for the exemption can be found on the university's press release, which we have posted on our Beaver News Facebook page. On top of meeting university standards, chosen fraternities and sororities would have to pay a large annual application fee of $10,000. According to the university, eligible chapters may have to pay up to an additional $15,000 for participation fees. Joining us now is Beaver News producer Hayden Wilcox, who is speaking with Interfraternal Council President Brendan Sanders on his opinion of the first-year experience program and the Daily Barometer's recent editorial.
Brendan, thank you for joining us tonight. I would like to ask you, what is your opinion of the article published by the Daily Barometer?
I was disappointed in the article when I first read it. It's as what usually comes out, the negativity that is associated with Greek life. And I can't in good conscience say that there aren't things that were used as arguments that happen within the community, but they also happen outside. I mean, drinking is a problem with everyone, really, in college. It's one of the largest problems that we face. But what they didn't use, and what shows the lack of knowledge of our community, was the lack of detail of what we are trying to do to prevent that and to get better about it, especially with drinking. We're working with university programs and especially student health with one of the coordinators in there, Rob Reff, to do alcohol training and educational activities. We as a community, in line with what the Panhellenic sororities do many educational activities regarding drinking, regarding all of these things that they brought up. Their statistics were also taken from reports from 2002, so 11 years later, and they're trying to use them as fact now. And I would also say, you know, looking at national statistics, they should have looked at more the Oregon State type and what our community actually deals with on a daily basis.
So you would say a mix of generalizations and misinformation?
Oh yes, complete generalizations in most categories. It shows that both sides haven't really been talking to each other, and people who see and have an opinion without finding their facts beforehand.
So what is your opinion on the first year experience? What do you think of this being implemented starting fall term?
The first year experience is interesting. I mean, we can see where the university is trying to come from, which is retention, keeping students, making them successful in their times. I mean, that goes in line with the same priorities of Greek life, which is, I mean, we don't really live without the retention of our memberships, and their academic success is one of our major priorities. On average, it's around 71% of Greek members will graduate, while it's around 60 or less for just students who aren't in the Greek system. So we can see the benefit of it, especially to the university. I mean, Oregon State used to have a live-in policy. But we just want to be sure that we're being represented, as we've had a first-year experience for generations now, especially within our houses. So we just want to be sure that we are working with the university to build the success of the students here, within and without the Greek system.
And the university recently made the compromise of accepting a few Greek chapters around campus. What are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like that was an adequate compromise with the application fees and the annual fees?
I think it was as much as it was what the university had to do with what they were given. I mean, with the liability and things, I do understand a lot of where they're coming from, and I feel like we as a community, as the interfraternity community, wanted some type of exemption program. This necessarily is outside of the bounds for quite a few of our groups, and so we will now have to start working as a community to figure out, okay, the university has given us these guidelines. What do we do at this point? How are we going to move forward as a unified body? My biggest fear with this program is that maybe some will get them, maybe some won't, maybe some can't pay for them. I mean, we have 19 fraternities on this campus, all with a different standard of care that they need and all that I have to be aware of and trying to advocate for differently. So how do I, my exec team, and the community balance that and get everyone to a point of success within the guidelines that the university has kind of dictated to us at this point?
Sure. Well, we wish you the best of luck with your compromises and your future work. Thank you for joining us tonight, Brendan.
No, thank you so much.
Ladies, back to you at the studio.
Earlier today, the Beaver News spoke with Editor-in-Chief of the Daily Barometer, Don Eiler, for his thoughts on the editorial and his response to the university's recent decision.
Yeah, I think I still stand by what we wrote. I mean, I don't think that any group, whether they're a fraternity or sorority or any other group, should get an exemption. I mean, they should play by the same rules that everyone else is playing by. And I don't think that they should be they should be getting special exemptions or rules. And today's barometer says they are going to get special exemptions or rules, so it looks like they won, even though it's going to cost them a lot of money. So, I mean, I don't know. And then the rest of the response about people just getting really up in arms about it. I mean, haters are going to hate. So, I mean, I don't know what to say beyond that. I mean, people can write letters to the editor, and we've been publishing them. We've got a lot of letters to the editor, and we're probably going to be cycling them through the next couple of days. But, I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Didn't catch this week's episode of American Idol? Get your fix with the finale of OSU's Got Talent tomorrow night. The 2-hour event will feature performances by 8 finalists who have been elected after auditions. Unlike American Idol, these 8 finalists have a wide variety of talent to offer, from singing and dancing to playing an instrument and stand-up comedy. Students who attend will have the final decision in who takes home the first, second, and third place prizes through an interactive text message voting system. The first place winner will receive a cash prize of $300, followed by $200 for the second place and $100 for first. The event will take place from 7 to 9 p.m. in the MU Ballroom and is open to the public.
Tomorrow, from 2 until 5 p.m. at the Memorial Union, there will be a Digital Humanities Symposium. The Digital Humanities is concerned with the interaction of computing and disciplines of the humanities. Some of the questions that will be discussed include: how has the information revolution influenced humanistic study? How have digital books and archives changed the way humanities scholars do research? And how does the internet change the way scholarship is disseminated? The event will be moderated by James Capshew and will feature 4 scholars who will explore the aspects of digital humanities in brief presentations.
2 former death row inmates will be visiting Oregon State University next week. Juan Melendez and Greg Wilhoit both spent years on death row until they were exonerated. The 2 men will talk about their time spent on death row, the process of appealing their sentences, and how they remained sane through everything. Pi Sigma Alpha, a political science organization on campus, will help host the event put on by the Oregonians for Alternatives to the Death Penalty and Witness to the Innocents. The aforementioned group is a national coalition of exonerated death row inmates who travel the country in efforts to raise awareness.
Today, ASOSU hosted their annual Gripe Fest conversation. This forum was held at the Memorial Union main lounge from noon to 4 and encouraged students to come out and discuss their grievances regarding OSU. Students could tweet their gripes to #GripeFest to have a surrogate read them aloud. Many of the comments made at this event were in regards to the Daily Barometer's recent editorial, The Greek Community, Limited Parking at OSU, and Rising Tuition Costs.
Earlier this morning, OSU students and faculty gathered in Snell Hall for a screening of the documentary Beyond Killing Us Softly, The Strength to Resist. The event was part of OSU's recognition of National Eating Awareness Week and was presented by OSU's Nutrition and Dietetics Club. The documentary discusses the impact that images, commercials, and figures in the media can have on women and young girls. This is an issue that has earned much attention recently. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, at the age of 17, 78% of American girls are unhappy with their bodies. And another recent study, published by the National Institute of Media and the Family, found that the amount of time a woman spends watching television, movies, and music videos is associated with their degree of body dissatisfaction and the desire to be thin. The ladies of Chi Omega will be holding their Pasta for Wishes philanthropy. Every year, Chi Omega puts on a pasta dinner to raise money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. The dinner will be held Friday, March 1st from 4 to 7 p.m. for $5 per plate. Guests will receive spaghetti with homemade meat or vegetarian sauce, garlic bread, Caesar salad, a drink, and a brownie. Gluten-free options will also be available on demand. All proceeds from this event will go to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, an organization that grants the wishes of children with life-threatening medical conditions and efforts to enrich the human experience with hope, strength, and joy. Chi Omega's goal is to raise enough money to grant one wish to a child in need. Well, before we end tonight's show, our Thursday night wouldn't be complete without our segment of Allison at the Movies.
Thanks, Gabriella. Sunday night director Ben Affleck's Argo won the Academy Award for Best Picture. This decision was a bit controversial because Argo was the first Best Picture nominee since 1989's Driving Miss Daisy, where the director was not nominated in the category. The backdrop of the film takes place during the Iranian hostage crisis in 1979. The story details how CIA operative Tony Mendez, played by Affleck, engineers the escape of 6 American embassy staff members who were not captured by Iranian revolutionaries. While they hide in the Canadian embassy, Affleck devises a plan that plays a movie like a movie inside of a movie, but that's because it is during the height of the Star Wars craze. Affleck sells the CIA on making a fake science fiction film to help get the 6 Americans out of Iran. Enlisting the help of a real Hollywood producer and the Canadian government, Affleck, along with his pretend film crew, go about the work of getting the staffers out of the country. In the end, things seem to work out for Affleck on Academy Awards Sunday, with Argo winning 3 awards: Best Picture, Film Editing, and Adapted Screenplay. Argo is rated R and is showing at the Dark Side Cinema.
Well, that's all the news we have for you tonight. I'm Gabriella Morrongiello.
And I'm Allison Headley. We're glad you could join us tonight.
For more of your Beaver news, find us on Facebook, watch us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. Have a good night.